Good evening. Welcome back to Passion World Talk Radio Network. And today we're starting a new program for Thursday nights. It's called Prez, P-R-E-Z. And it talks about everything concerning our president, whoever is president at the time. And the episode's dealing with presidential immunity. The line just got drawn in the sand. Tonight, we're looking at a major ruling that landed yesterday. And no, you really can't make this stuff up. A federal judge has ruled that our current president is not immune from civil lawsuits related to his January 6th Ellipse speech. This doesn't decide guilt. This doesn't assign blame, but what it does say is simple. Our president is not shielded from civil liability for actions that are considered campaign activity rather than official presidential duties. Let's break this down to what the judge actually said. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts. 1, the speech was not an, quote, an official act, end of quote. Judge Amit Mehta ruled that the Ellipse really was what it was. It had nothing to do, but everything to do. And she wanted the president to know that he is responsible for what he says. So, what was her core finding? Our current president's Ellipse speech on January 6th was not an official presidential act. It was campaign activity. Therefore, it is not protected by presidential immunity. And you're asking, well, why? Well, no public funds were used, no White House promotion, no executive agency involved, staff running the event were campaign affiliated, and he was still acting as an office seeker, not as president. This is a direct limit on the 2024 Supreme Court ruling that expanded presidential immunity. 2, the Georgia, quote, find 11,000 votes, unquote, call. Mehta ruled that his call to Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger was not an official act either. It was the act of a candidate trying to alter an election outcome. This opens him up to civil liability for that call as well. First Amendment argument rejected. The judge found his January 6th rally remarks plausibly amounted to indictment, not protected political speech. This is significant because it means the court believes the speech may have directly contributed to the violence. A jury may eventually decide whether it was incitement or not. What Trump is immune for. Sorry, I didn't mean to say his name. How silly of me. Got to be more careful, huh? Mehta said he is immune for his Rose Garden remarks during the riot, his interactions with DOJ officials that day, and these are considered official acts. What happens next? This ruling allows the civil suits to proceed, sets the stage for a possible civil trial, will almost certainly be appealed, and further clarifies the limits of presidential immunity. This is one of the last unresolved January 6 cases, and it's now moving forward. This episode is legally significant, easy to explain, emotionally resonant, and tied to an ongoing national debate. What I consider a clean example of official act versus campaign act. So, what to do? The Georgia phone call falls into the same category. The judge ruled that the phone call was not an official act because he wasn't elected president yet. Because the court found it was an act of a candidate trying to influence election results, not the act of a president carrying out constitutional responsibilities. Again, let's make it clear, campaign activity equals no immunity. Why didn't the First Amendment argument hold? The court rejected the idea that his speech was protected political speech. The judge said the plaintiffs have plausibly alleged incitement, which means the case can proceed. Our jury may eventually decide whether the speech crossed the legal line. This is not a conviction. This is not a finding of wrongdoing. This is simply the court saying there's enough here to let the lawsuit continue. The judge did say that the current president is immune for his Rose Garden remarks during the riot and his interactions with the DOJ officials that day. They were considered official presidential acts. So the ruling draws a very clear line. Official duties equals immunity. Campaign actions do not equal immunity. So what do you think is going to happen next? Well, let me give you a bird's eye view. The ruling will almost certainly be appealed. It may go all the way to the Supreme Court, but for now, the civil case moves forward. And here's the part that makes this whole thing almost surreal. Even if he appeals, even if he fights it, there is no legal mechanism to release the fact that millions of Americans watch these events unfold on national television. You can't exile the witnesses. You can't gag the public. You can't unbroadcast history. The courts are simply deciding where the line is between a president's official duties and a candidate's campaign actions. Today, that line got a little clearer. Thoughts? Oppose? Agree? PWR Network LLC at gmail.com. And if you want to keep the lights on and the heat going or the AC, depending what Mother Nature has up its sleeves, go over to passionworldtalkradio.com. Click down to Vision XR. A box drops down. Click on PWRN's Daily Bread and click for a subscription. And please spread the word that the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth is always stated here at Passion World Talk Radio Network. Have a great evening.